Hello everyone and welcome to another video in the query formula series on Google Sheets. In the previous videos, we learned how to write our first query inside the query formula using the select statement. We understood how to move around the columns, we understood certain other aspects, and then we saw how to use the where clause. And we use the where to filter the data. We worked with different filters, we worked with our logical operators and or not to understand how to stack different conditions within the same statement and the like. So if you are not familiar with all this, or if you have not seen the previous videos, so please do go check out the previous videos and then come back to this. Right, so let's move on, and we shall now look at the next clause, which is the group by clause. Okay, so in the group by clause, if you are familiar with Excel, this is something where the values get grouped after you dump a numerical column into values. Now what does that mean? So let's say you start by creating a pivot table. Okay, and the next thing you do is you take, let's say, units sold or total sales and put it in the values box. Let me show you that real quick. I should have a pivot table somewhere. Oh yeah, I do have a pivot table here. So I have some pivot table over here. Okay, and if I actually come to the edit side, you can see that I have just dumped these numericals into the values box that's over here on the right side. Okay, so when you dump it into the values box, any number, what happens is it automatically becomes a sum. You get to see a total number. You don't get to see a bunch of numbers. That depends on what dimension you use, but you get to see a particular sum or rows containing some values. So that's exactly what we are going to be doing in the next clause, which is a group by, where we are aggregating values across the rows. Okay, so we've learned how to select the columns, we've learned how to use filters, and now we are going to aggregate the columns. Okay, so what kind of scenarios does this play out in? Now let's say I have this table from the previous video where we've only taken the data for Amazon and for sales greater than for sales less than equal to 400,000. Okay, so let's only stick to one filter here. Let's say Amazon. Okay, and now what I'm trying to do here is, you can see that there are about four product types over here: streetwear, athletic wear, and then women's streetwear, athletic wear, and there's also men's and women's apparel. So it's about 6 types. Okay, what I'm now going to do is, I want to see, right, for the retailer, for the region, and for product, what is the total number of units sold and the total sales. Remember, in this case, what we have right now is we have everything as per the row. So this is for Amazon, for the region South, for men's street footwear, we sold 450 units and with about $180,000 in sales. Similarly, we have Amazon, South region, men's athletic footwear, 250 units, $100,000, and so on. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to exclude this region column, and I'm going to say, okay, for the retailer Amazon and for the product, what is the total number of units sold and total sales across each of these 6 categories. Okay, so let's modify the query a little bit. We are going to remove the region column from here because I just want to see it on 2 dimensions. Okay, now when I do that, you see we only have retailer, product, units sold, total sales. And now we are going to combine all of this. We are going to sum it across both these dimensions. Okay, and make this table even more smaller. So we have the select and we have the where, and in this order, if you see, you have select, where, and then you have the group by. Okay, so whenever you're writing a group by, it always has to be after the where. Definitely after the select, because select is the first command, so everything will come only after the select. But when you're trying to do a group by, and if you have a where, then you have to write it after the where. But if you don't have a where, you can just go ahead and write the group by. So in this case, we do have a where, so definitely we are going to write it after the where. So where A is equal to Amazon, and now I'm going to do a group by. So group by. So group by will now write the columns which we want to group this data by. So in this case, we are going to group it by the retailer name Amazon and by the retailer column and by the product types, okay, which is columns A and G. Okay, so we are going to group them by that. And also there is another tweak that we have to do over here. Because we are aggregating these columns, we want to see the total units sold and total sales for each of these categories. The way we select the fact columns will also change. So in this case, we have written it as I and J. That will get changed to sum of I and sum of J. Now why sum of I and sum of J? Because we are trying to sum. We are grouping it by the sum operation. Okay, we want to see the total units sold and total sales. So which is why we are using a sum. If we are using any other kind of operation such as average or count, then you write that operation in the select statement, average I, average J, and so on. Okay, so the changes that are to be made are the fact columns that you are going to sum by have to be changed into the grouping operation. So in this case, we are using sum of I and sum of J and not I and J. I and J, when we select, we are selecting the column as is from the raw data itself. Okay, we are not doing any transformation of I and J when we are selecting it as is and we are specifying I comma J. In this case, we are specifying it as sum of I and sum of J. Okay, so when we are doing sum of I and sum of J, it has to be followed by a group by at the end. Okay, now in this group by, we have to put the same number of columns that are there in the select statement, but only for the dimensions. Okay, so if let's say I have A comma G over here in the select, sum of I and sum of J are fact columns which are going to be summed, whereas A comma G are the dimensions. Okay, so the same dimensions A comma G will be added over here, A comma G. Okay, now when I do this, now you can see the total units sold and the total sales for Amazon. For men's apparel, you have the options. Now if I remove the filter Amazon, you will see it for all the other retailers as well. So in this case, I have select, I've added the select, I've added the group by, and now you can see for every retailer you have this set of rows where you're seeing the total units sold and total sum of sales, sum of total sales for each product category. So this is for Amazon, this is for Foot Locker, this is for Kohl's, Sports Direct, so on and so forth. Okay, so whatever columns you select over here will be added here as well. Now let's say I want to add one more dimension here. Okay, let's say we'll go for the sales method one. So I have one dimension over here which is called as sales method. So I'm going to be using that. So I'm just going to add that over here. So when I add this over here, okay, that M has to be added over here as well. Okay, so kind of like an LHS is equal to RHS kind of a thing, right? Where you ensure that whatever dimension columns are added in the select, the same dimension columns have to be added in the group by as well. So now when I do this, now you can see the dimension has broken apart even more, right? Actually no, it's the same, because we have in store Amazon, men's apparel, and then the units, but we have it for three different types. So we have online, Amazon, this one, and then we have the outlet. So there are three kinds of methods that are displayed in this data set: in store, online, and outlet. So you can see that whatever set of rows you saw for each of them, so this is one set, this is another set, everything gets tripled because it's for every sales method as well. So this Amazon is for in-store, this Amazon is for online, and this Amazon over here is for outlet, and that also applies for the rest of the retailers as well. So the way to read this is, so for in-store Amazon, the total number of units sold in the men's apparel category in Amazon in-store is 4925. Okay, and this was the total sales made. Okay, so as you can see now, that is how we have used the group by. If you want to look at for a specific sales method, so let's say I want to look at it for online, so I'm just going to add that, where M is equal to online. Now when I do that, I am only getting all the data for sales method is equal to online. Okay, so as you can see now, our query has now become a little bigger. We've added a select, we have selected some columns, we have made some changes in the way we select the fact columns, added a filter, and then we are doing a group by operation where we are creating a completely new table and we are checking the total units sold and total sales across by 3 dimensions. Okay, in the previous instance it was 2 dimensions. Okay, so as you can see now, we are getting somewhere into the meat of things, and we are now starting to build tables that are more into the analysis side and trying to understand how many things that this one query formula can do in your data, in your simplistic data transformations inside Google Sheets, and how it can expand to bigger applications as well. Okay, so I hope this was useful. I hope you can use this. Please like this video and consider subscribing to the channel for more data related content that's coming your way, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you.